Hello, my friends. So last week we had an incredible guest, and at the very end of the episode, she clued us in on what we're going to talk about in this episode. Dianne Grossman, introduce yourself to the audience for those people who missed last week, and I know they're going to want to go back, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Dianne Grossman, and I am the founder of an organization called Mallory's Army. My husband and I, in 2017, our youngest daughter, Mallory Grossman, after months of bullying at school and online, on June 14th, 2017, our 12-year-old, perfectly healthy, happy little girl ended her own life. Suicide is the leading cause of death for children in their teens and tweens. And I'll say that again, suicide is the leading cause of death. Your children are more likely to end their own life than to die in a car accident. And so with that information, after our daughter hurt herself, we started an organization called Mallory's Army, which is really about behavior management, teaching people and children, school systems and communities, how we can better adjust ourselves and our lives to the behaviors around us, and also to have an open conversation about suicide.
Wow. It's an incredible journey that Dianne is sharing with us, everyone, because she has a business that she, has built over 10 years. And then, this horrible event, but she has turned it around into helping others, into informing others with this incredible foundation, Dianne. So tell me a little bit more about, your personal outreach. Like, does this have employees that go out to schools and do presentations, or do you do that for the foundation? Tell me a little bit about the connection.
So the foundation kind of found me, and I tell everyone that. If you had said to me, when I first started in my life, I wanted to be a female entrepreneur, I wanted to run a business, and I was actively doing that, and then all of this tragedy happens. I really wasn't in the mindset to build a foundation, but it kind of chose me. So when something, bad things happen to people every single day, it is how you respond to those bad things that is really the true test of. And so, there's a mom right now sitting in an oncology office learning that her child has cancer. So with that mindset, it was really about, where did I go wrong, and how can I teach other moms and dads what mistakes that Seth and I made? Where's our accountability? Where's the school's accountability? So pre-COVID, we would go to school systems and do an hour-long presentation, and we talk about past, present, and future, what bullying used to look like, and why is it different today? What happened to Mallory? What are the small marks on the canvas of who we are that change us, right? We're all born this beautiful, colorful individual. And then someone says, I don't like you. And that puts a black mark on us. Someone says, I don't like your hair. And that puts a black mark. And then over time, those black marks scar the canvas of who we are. And then, of course, we talk about what a bracelet life is and how you can be something better than you are today. And so that was pre-COVID. With COVID and not being able to go into the school systems, we are now in the process of taking that entire school presentation and breaking it down into a curriculum-based program for schools to license. The past,
Wow.
Resilient behavior, what is common ground? How can you teach children? We have to understand that children are not social the way that they used to be. And since they don't engage the way that they used to be, they are missing resilient style skills. They're missing those soft core skills that you need. You like ketchup, I like ketchup. You like French fries, I like French fries. You like pizza, I like pizza. We are now more likely to defend each other because we have that common thread.
Right.
Get that through social media. And so those soft skills are being missed. So we hope to try to teach school systems, and that program hopefully will be ready this year, sometime in the spring.
That's brilliant and absolutely well timed, Dianne, because we've suffered so much in the past 2 years as far as social development and for our children. And it's so critical, right, for their growth and understanding. And social media has brought about a very competitive process too early on, right?
Right.
So this program, so will schools go to the foundation to purchase that program? Like, how is it disseminated as to all the schools that need it, which is every school, in my opinion?
So, right. So all the schools definitely, one of the things that we noticed with the school assemblies is it was kind of like, even the schools would refer to them as a flyby, right? You do one and done.
Right.
While I think that that's great, I honestly don't believe it's the best use of the school's money. And I think that it needs to be more of an engaging program, more of like a one-on-one. So our goal in all of this is to include the teachers on a more intimate setting, which is why we will pivot, to use COVID's words, and create a program that's accessible to everyone. It also allows me to reach not just the tri-state area, which has been our focus, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, but now we can be more of a true global program. So yes, they'll go to the mallory'sarmy.org website to request the program. I don't anticipate that being ready before maybe the end of March, beginning of April. Our first attempt will be to do a soft launch, to put it out to the schools that have already witnessed our program and to get positive and negative feedback as to what they think. Is it working? So we're obviously working with a small board of individuals to help us make sure that the program that we're offering is in line with the teachings. It also helps advance our programs and our into laws, because we also want to make sure that we educate the administrative staff on the laws that are in place or the lacking of laws and what they can do to enforce better behaviors. When children can predict the consequences of their behavior, that's when you can start to soften or eliminate some of this type behavior. Right now, it's kind of a free-for-all. It's like the Wild West online. I can say and do whatever I want to, and there's really no consequences. The law that we just passed in early January, Mallory's Law, now holds parents and students accountable from a fine perspective if they are caught bullying online. So those are just things that we are continuing to do through our organization.
It's incredible. And I want to reiterate what you just said. You were the impetus in pushing through Mallory's Law. Like, tell us a little bit more about that, Dianne, because I think it's so critical. Again, your energy and your perspective has provided this guidance that we so need right now. So let's talk about that just for a minute, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Mallory's Law was really written. I worked with Senator Panacio and Senator Dianne. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation that we wrote. It took about a year and a half. Technology changes at the speed of light and laws change at the snail's pace. So we have to really acknowledge that and know how difficult it is to change language to laws that affect someone's personal Bill of Rights, someone's Miranda rights. There's a lot of things that go into changing the laws, which I was unaware of. So that process taught me a lot about the legislative process. But what we did is we kind of took the components that I felt that were missing in my particular case. There's really not a direct way to inform the school that your child is being mistreated. You can email, you can call, but there really needs to be one online portal where it becomes and creates transparency. I won't name the school district, but there is a Union County school district that has 7 schools. And in those 7 schools, in over a year and a half, there was not one reported case of bullying. Well, that's impossible for children. I think we need to stop worrying about our children being bullies and worry about correcting that behavior. I always say it's not a bad thing to have a child that bullies someone. It's a bad thing not to correct that behavior.
Right.
I think we caught up on our child being labeled a negative when every child has experienced or participated in some level of humiliation, intimidation, and of course, bullying. So I think that creating Mallory's Law created that, forced the states and the schools to put something in writing. So it teaches the parents how to report behavior. It also is now time-stamped so that when you do submit it, the school now has notification. They have 10 days to address this behavior. They have to be transparent about it. It has to get reported to the Board of Education, even if it's unfounded. I think it's important. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So if we don't acknowledge that there's something going on, we can't change that behavior. And then, of course, for parents who refuse to do anything about it, there are fines in place that were originally always in place, but now we've increased those fines to make the parents more. When a parent has to write a $25 check, it's not really that big of a deal. But when they have to write a $500 check, we have your attention.
Yes, indeed.
Punish. But I always say, what's the difference between bullying at 17 and bullying at 19? A felony. That's the difference. So I would much rather have a child that has been faced with a bad behavior at 17 than dealing with a felony at 19. And I think that that's really important for parents, that they are going to be held civilly accountable for their children's behavior. I'd much rather handle that when they're young rather than when they're older.
Absolutely. Wow, that's incredible. The law's named after your daughter. It's all your energy, positive energy. And it's an awareness as parents, as teachers, school district, everyone, now that we need to act on so it doesn't happen again and again and again. So tell me a little bit about this bracelet. Is this a way that we can support the foundation? We mentioned it in our last episode, and you had a beautiful story how it's like that. It's that reminder every day, and you don't leave home without that incredible bracelet. Is this a way that we can support the foundation?
Sure. So we obviously have Mallory's Army gear, and people always say to me, why gear? Sometimes it's very difficult for children to articulate that they're a part of something. You know, children love brands. They love Adidas. They love Nike. They love their Converse, right? Children love a brand. It's their way of fitting in. So Mallory's Army is a brand. We have hoodies, we have sweatshirts, we have t-shirts, and of course we have our Mallory's Army blue bracelet. As Mallory's Army, it's our awareness brand. And that's how you put that on. And what we always say, and we have the children take the Mallory's Army pledge, which is to be the kind of person you want to meet, rather than celebrities telling you to be the kind of person you want to be. That to me is a very selfish statement. I want to be this way. I want to be the kind of person I want to meet. What you put out in the universe is what you attract back. And so teaching children to be the kind of person that they want to meet. I always tell them, in order to have friends, you have to be a friend. And so we have them take the Mallory's Army pledge. Then, of course, they get the Mallory's Army bracelet. And I always say that I put this bracelet on every single day because it reminds me to be the good in the world. Maybe when I'm having a bad day and the minivan has cut me off because they're running late to soccer practice or something, rather than giving them the official, one finger New Jersey wave, I have the bracelet on my arm to remind me, no, step back. Maybe they are on their way to the hospital. Maybe they're on the way to a sick relative, just remembering, or maybe they're just having a bad day. So the bracelet reminds me it's like tying a string around your finger to remember to pick up milk and bread. Everything lives in our phone these days, which, by the way, is not a phone. It's a mini computer. Everything is in there. So to put something physically on your body, this leather band or bracelet or something, it just is my reminder to walk a little bit softly in the world. And I have to say, on the Mallory's Army, you'll see the hashtag, it's a bracelet kind of life. Mallory used to make the rainbow loom bracelets, and she would sell them to, she would sell them and hand scrubs and bath bombs and things like that. And she would sell these items, and then she would donate the money to an organization called Camp Good Days. Camp for kids with cancer. And she just knew how important it was to give to someone who needed something more than she did. And she called it living a bracelet kind of life, that the small homemade bracelet on your arm can remind you to be the good in the world. And so after Mallory passed away, we decided to trademark it's a bracelet kind of life. And for us, it doesn't matter whether you put the Mallory's Army bracelet on or a Tiffany bracelet or your grandmother's bracelet or the bracelet that your mother gave you when you got married. For us, it's really identifying that a bracelet kind of life is putting a bracelet on your arm to remember who you are and to remember to be the good in the world.
I love every single bit of that. The legacy. Oh, I'm getting choked up. So that being said, it's an incredible, beautiful story in the legacy that you've brought forward and sharing your daughter, sharing your story. I'm going to put the link, but if you want to repeat where we can support Mallory's Army, if you want to repeat that now, and then I'll put the link in the show notes so that we can be a part of this amazing, incredible journey, Dianne.
Thank you so much. So you can reach us at mallorysarmy.org. We are a registered 501c3 charitable organization, and we appreciate any donations. COVID has been really hard on us because we didn't solicit donations during that time because we felt like that you needed to support your local food banks, you needed to support your local hospitals. But now that we're starting to get back to normal a little bit, donations are always appreciated. Buy our gear, buy your kid a hoodie. There's something about putting on that hoodie to know that you're a part of something that's so much bigger than ourselves. When I put my Mallory's Army hoodie on, I just know that I'm attracting good people and good juju in the world. And so that's what we hope. So mallorysarmy.org is the best way to reach us.
Indeed. Dianne, thank you so much. What a beautiful, incredible journey. I so appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having us and sharing our story. I'm happy to be a part of your podcast.
You're beautiful, Dianne. You're
Thanks.
amazing. Thank you.